All right, the objective, I can write equations in slope-intercept form from a graph. And of course, I know we talked about this already, but slope-intercept form, right? Y equals mx plus b. And just a little reminder on some vocabulary for this, okay? The coefficient is a number multiplied by a letter. In this case, m is the coefficient of x because it will be replaced by with a number. M, though, stands for slope, and b stands for the y-intercept, right? And I just can't emphasize this enough. M stands for slope, b stands for y-intercept. Now this one, the objective is to write equations in slope-intercept form from a graph. So when you look at a graph, and this may come as a surprise, but there's only two things you need to write the equation in slope-intercept form. The first thing here is m, the slope, which is why it's called slope. And the second thing is the y-intercept, which is why it's called slope-intercept form. So as long as you can figure out those two things from the graph, then you can write the equation for it. Now, we're not going to see this today, but if you couldn't tell what the y-intercept was, then you'd either need to solve for it using slope-intercept form or simplify what's called point-slope form. And we're going to talk about this a little bit later. But point-slope form, it's going to look like this, just so you understand, and I've seen this already. M still stands for slope, but you wouldn't use the y-intercept to write this equation because if you did, you'd just write it in slope-intercept form. You'd have to find some other point on the graph, and then you'd use the x value there and then the y value there. Again, you don't have to memorize this right now. Plus, I got it on a poster. But just know that this stuff it's going to be coming here in a couple lessons, okay? In this lesson, all the y-intercepts are going to be very easy to find. Okay, so I don't know if easy is the right word, but they're going to be very clear cut. Okay, so if you saw a y-intercept that was more like a decimal or fractional value, then you'd be looking to use this 1 and 2 stuff down here, the second two. All right, write the equation in slope-intercept form for the line on the graph. Okay, well remember, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, and that's m times x, right? It's a coefficient. We just need to replace the m and the b, if we can find them. And on this graph, remember, a y-intercept is where the line, in this case the blue line, goes through the y-axis. Well, what is the y-axis? It's this line right here. See this one right here? It's that vertical axis it's kind of darker, right? In fact, they've even labeled it very kindly with y right there. Just so in case we forget it's the y-axis, it's labeled right there. They didn't write the word axis on it. So if you need to do that, then do it, okay? But for this, we would say this blue line, where does it go through that y-axis? Boom, there it is. I found it right there. Now we need the ordered pair for that point. And this ordered pair would be 0, because it's 0 on the x-axis, the x number line. And on the y number line, which is the vertical y-axis right here, it's at -3, right? You have 0, -1, -2, -3. So it's at 0, -3. Now we don't write the ordered pair in the slope-intercept form of the equation. We just write the y value, which in this case is -3. So notice I didn't put plus -3. I just write -3. Which is a more simplified version of plus -3. But then I need the slope. So to find the slope, I need any other point on this line, any other ordered pair, any other ordered pair where I don't use fractions or decimals. So I'd be looking at this line, and I got to find where it goes through the grid corners, right? So when I say grid corners, I'm looking at these types of corners like this, okay, and or even like this one. But the blue line, just from this picture, I mean, it goes through 0, -3, that's fine. But would be scanning this to see where it goes through any other point. Now, it does go through this point right here. See that right there? And we could find the actual value of that ordered pair. I'm not going to use that point because I'm kind of a math jerk that way. I'm going to use this one right here. Why am I using that point? Just to show you that it doesn't matter which 2 points you use. Now we've already got a point, 0, -3. But the ordered pair for this one would be the x value is -4 and the y value is +3 right there. -4, 3. Well, why do we need that? Because I need the slope in order to finish off this equation. So to find the slope, I'm going to use the slope formula. Hopefully this kind of sounds familiar. Right, where it would say you got y value minus a y value over an x value minus the x value, okay? Well, where do these x and y values come from? They come from the 2 ordered pairs that we have on the graph. So if I look at the green ordered pair, x is -4 and y is 3. So I replace that into this formula, and it doesn't matter which one I replace them with, as long as they're together. So I say x is -4, x's go in the denominator, and the y value is 3 in that green ordered pair, so I put that in the numerator right there. So that represents the ordered pair, -4, 3. And the second ordered pair, which is the y-intercept, the x value is 0, and the y value is -3. So I write that into the formula. X is 0, so it goes in the denominator. The y value is -3, it goes in the numerator. Now, all I'm going to do at this point is use the calculator to simplify this and to figure out what it is, okay? So I'm using the n over d button, and then I type in 3 minus -3 in the numerator. I go down to the denominator, and I type in -4 minus 0, and I just push enter. Boom. It gives me the answer as -3 over 2. Now, that is the m value, right? So the m, I'm going to replace it in there into this slope-intercept form as -3 over 2. Now, just in case we didn't know, what that means, the slope, right? It's -3 over 2. That means it would be down 3 because it's a negative. And then to the right 2. Rise over run. That's the slope. So it would, from the green point, it would go down 3 right there, right? That's down 3. And then to the right 2. See, and that gives us this other point, and if we went down 3 to the right 2, then we'd get to that purple point right there, okay? So this is also how you would use the graph to find the slope. We'll use it more directly in the next example, though. However, this is the final answer right there. Y equals -3 halves x minus 3. And just so you guys understand on the homework, since it's on Canvas, you would type in this is going to be its own empty box, and this is going to be its own empty box. You type in -3 divided by 2 here in front of the x in this box, and then in this box it's going to show the plus. Then just put the -3 right there, okay? And that's how you would type it in on the homework. All right, same thing on this one, okay? So I'm going to show it a little differently. Y equals mx plus b, right? So we'll fill in the space for m, that's the coefficient of x, and we'll fill in the space for the b right here. Okay? So again, I look at this line, the blue line on this graph, and the y-intercept, that's the first thing I would usually find, just because it's just visual, right? I don't actually have to calculate anything for the y-intercept. So I just look and see, where does this blue line go through the y-axis? Boom, I found it right there. And what is this ordered pair? 0, -3. It is 0, -3 again. Hopefully that's not a problem. But then I just put it as -3 in the equation. So finding the y-intercept, it's visual. Just look at the graph, figure out where that is. Next, all we got to do is find the slope. Now to find the slope on this one, we need any other ordered pair on this graph. And there's only one more that I think we can use on this, right? Because if I look, this blue line, it comes close to this ordered pair right here, but it's not right on that point right there. It's not really even close. This one's closer, but be careful. Some students are like, hey, it goes through that point, which would be 2, 0. But it does not. It does not go through that point. It's close, but not quite. This one's not even close. But this one is. This one's pretty close. See that? It's like, man, that blue line is so close to that ordered pair right there, but it is not. It does not go through that ordered pair. Again, this one, it's not so close. Oh, there it is. I found it. This one right here. Okay? So let's go back and see where that ordered pair is. Found it right there. And what is that ordered pair? Well, that looks like it's at x value is 5 right there, and the y value also is 5. Now, you could use the formula, the slope formula, to find the slope on this one. But I'm going to use the graph on this instead, because some of you prefer to use the formula, some of you prefer to just use the graph, and it doesn't matter which one you choose, okay? So I'd say from that purple point to the green point, I'd have to go up to this line, and then to the right to the point. So it goes up and to the right, that's for sure. Okay? It's just how far up do we go? Well, starting at the purple point would go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I counted lines. Some of you guys count the boxes, and that's fine too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Up 8. Now as a slope, up 8 is the rise, which means it's the numerator. Rise over run. Up 8. Now it's up, so it's positive 8. And then it goes to the right. Again, if I were to count lines, I'd start here. Then I'd go to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So to the right 5, and again, you could count the boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Still the same. To the right 5, that's the run. Not the runs, just the run. And that's to the right 5, which means it's positive 5. 8/5. Now, don't change these into mixed numbers, right? We don't like mixed numbers when we're using pure math like this. So just keep the improper fraction as 8/5. Right there, okay? And as it turns out, this would be slope-intercept form of this equation. Y equals 8/5 x minus 3. Boom, done. Just to expand on that just a little bit more, the y-intercept stuff, right? So it's called the y-intercept because, well, I mean, I hate to get into like deep English here, but it's like, it's where the blue line intercepts the y-axis, or just, I don't know, I prefer just to say that it goes through it, but intercepts makes math people sound smarter than we are. All right, let's do this one. Write the equation in slope-intercept form for this line on the graph. No problem, man, no problem. So let's set up the equation. Y equals mx plus b. M is the coefficient of x, that's the slope, and b is the y-intercept. So I'm just filling in these blanks, just like you will have to do on the assignment for this one, right? And again, the y-intercept is very easily found just by looking at the blue line. Where does it go through the y-axis, that vertical, more solid black line? Well, to me, it looks like it goes through right up in here, which is the ordered pair 0, -5. Now, since I see that ordered pair is 0, -5, I would just write this is negative or -5 right there in the equation, okay? So again, we're not writing the ordered pair in the equation, we're just writing the y value there. Well, now that we have that, all we need is the slope. So to find the slope, I just need any other ordered pair on this graph. And yeah, there's several to choose from. I'm going to choose this one, though. Why am I choosing that one? Because I can. You don't have to use this one. You'll still have the same slope. That's the nice thing about straight lines. It's not like the slope changes between points, right? Slope is steepness. So this ordered pair, the x value shows 3. The y value shows is -2. So 3, -2. And just to reiterate this, you could have used this point, 1, -4, 2, -3, 4, -1, or even 5, 0 if you'd like. But I am not. Here's this ordered pair, 3, -2. So the question now becomes, we've shown two different methods. You could just use the graph to find the slope, or you can use the formula. Which one do you guys want me to use to find this one? Graph? All right, and so I'll alternate between the two for now. But I'll do the graph on this one, okay? So to find the slope, I would make a stair step between these 2 points, right? Which shows this goes up and then to the right. So again, we just got to figure out how far up it goes. So if the line thing doesn't make sense for you, just count the boxes, right? 1, 2, 3 boxes on that line, which means it went up 3. So the slope right now is up 3. That's our rise, so that's the numerator. And then what's the run? It goes to the right, 1, 2, 3 boxes. 3 boxes. And again, you could count the lines, 1, 2, 3 if you need. That's the run, right 3, which makes it +3. And 3 divided by 3 is 1. So we're going to write this in as y equals 1x minus 5. Now, just so you guys understand, because if you guys start doing this stuff in ninth grade, which you will, they'll probably want that one to be a phantom one, so you wouldn't have to necessarily show it. But for the homework that we're going to be doing, do show it, okay, because that's going to be an empty box that you're going to have to fill. So we're going to write this as y equals 1x minus 5, which also means you could write it as 1 over 1, right? So you could have said I went up 1 to the right 1, up 1 to the right 1. See how it creates smaller steps, though it gets us to the same points. If we were to reverse this on the slope, right? Some people may say, well, I'm going to go down 3 and then to the left 3, right? All this does is it makes the slope, it's negative 3 over negative 3, but see how it still gives us a positive 1 right there? Anything divided by itself would be 1. Or you could say 2 negatives make that a positive. So if you choose to use that stair step that I put in blue right there, instead, it still works out. Whatever. Write this equation in slope-intercept form. No problem. Here we go. This one, by the way, just by looking at this graph, I can see that it's going down from left to right, which means I know the slope is going to be negative. Not that that's super important because we can use the formula for this one anyways. So y equals mx plus b. M is the slope, b is the y-intercept, right? And again, visually, we don't need to calculate the y-intercept other than just to find the ordered pair for it. This one shows 0, negative 1. So I'm going to write the y-intercept as minus 1 right there, okay? And again, all I got to do is fill in that blank for the slope, which is the coefficient of x, the number being multiplied by x. So I just need to use any other ordered pair on this graph, right? Any other ordered pair, no decimals, no fractions on this thing. So I'm going to use this one, where the x value is negative 2, and the y value shows as 3. Negative 2, 3. Now I will use, since we used the graph on that last one, I'm going to use the slope formula on this one. Although you don't have to use the formula, right? I'm just pointing out you don't have to use either one specifically. Just use the one you like the most. Maybe you just don't like either. I don't know. But in any case, I'll start with the green point, which is x is negative 2, y is 3, right? So the x's go in the denominator. That's negative 2. The y values go in the numerator, which is 3. Negative 2, 3. There's our ordered pair. And then for the purple point, x is 0 and y is negative 1. So x is going in the denominator, y is in the numerator. And once again, I'm going to use the n over d button on the calculator just to type this in all at the same time, okay? So I type in n over d, 3 minus negative 1. And remember, on the calculator, the minus and negative buttons are different. And then I go to the denominator, negative 2 minus 0. And this is going to give me a negative 2 slope. And the nice thing about these calculators is it does simplify it for us. So I have my m, which is the coefficient of x. I just put it in as negative 2. I'll clean this up a little bit, make it look pretty. And there's our answer right there. Y equals negative 2x minus 1. All right, same idea with this one. We just got to find the slope and the y-intercept. And yeah, we got the y-intercept pretty quick right here. There it is. That's at 0, positive 1 now. And since this is a positive 1 y value on that y-intercept, we're just going to write it as plus 1 right there. So again, on the homework, it'll already have the plus sign, I believe. So you just type in a 1. You don't have to put a plus positive 1 on that. But we still need the slope. So to find the slope, I'm going to use any other ordered pair on this graph. And just for the sake of practice, I don't know, I'm going to use this one. You could have used anything closer to it like this one right here, right? But I'm not going to. I'm going to use this ordered pair, which shows the x value is negative 4. And the y value here is negative 3. Negative 4, negative 3. Now, you could use the formula, but I used that on the last one, so I'm going to use the graph on this, okay? So this would be my stair step, and it shows it goes up and to the right. So that's a positive rise and a positive run for our slope. How far up does this go? Well, starting at that green point, we'd go up 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's positive 4. And then to the right, starting at this line, 1, 2, 3, 4. So up 4, to the right 4. 4 divided by 4. If I were to put this in the calculator, hopefully we don't need to, it's 1. So we would show this as y equals 1x plus 1 with just the quick reminder that, remember, you usually make that a phantom 1, but since we're filling in boxes on the homework, just make that a 1 right there. That is all. I'm going to emphasize this just real quick, okay, is this equation right here, it represents all the points on this blue line, okay? That's the nice thing about equations with two unknowns. There's an infinite number of answers that make it true, but they have to fit on this blue line. So like if I put in the x value is 2 and the y value is 3, which is this ordered pair, x is 2, y is 3, that would make a true statement. Okay, or if I replaced it with -1, 0 right here. So -1, 0. If I replace the x and y with those two respective values, then I would still get a true statement. Okay, so this equation represents the line of this graph, which is, well, it's kind of the objective. So here's the next one. Once again, we just need the slope, and we need the y-intercept. Slope, y-intercept. There's the y-intercept. Oh, it's 0, 1 again. How convenient. That's a positive 1, by the way. So I got a +1 right there. We just need the slope. And so I'm going to use, there's this ordered pair right here. I'm going to use this one, which is at 1, -2. But you could have used this point if you wanted to, which is at -1, 5. So I used the graph on that last one. I'll use the formula on this one. All right, so the formula on this. I'll start with my purple ordered pair, where x is 0 and y is 1. So that's a 0, 1 ordered pair. Then I'll use that red ordered pair where x is 1 and y is -2. X is 1, y is -2. Just plug this into the calculator and it will give you the answer very quickly as, wait, what am I doing? That's 1, -3. That's not 1, -2 right there. It's 1, oh, I think that's good recovery. Yeah, so this is not -2 right there. Yeah, that seemed a little off. 1 minus -3, that's much better. This is going to come out as -4, which means the coefficient of x is -4. Boom. All right, so don't make that mistake that I just did. You know, make sure you're looking at those, counting them correctly. I don't know what that guy's thinking on that -2 business, but I'm glad we caught it and we fixed it. Oh, this is a unique scenario, okay? Now, the y-intercept isn't hard to find on this still, and we will need it because we need the slope and y-intercept, right? Oh, it's at 0, 1 again, dang it. That's fine. So we got a +1 as the y-intercept. We just need the slope. So any other ordered pair will do. They can be close together. They can be far apart. It doesn't matter. I'm going to use this one at 5, 1. Okay? Now, we could use the graph on this. I'm going to use both, actually. So I'd say these two connected this way, right? Which means you'd be going up 0. And then for me, I would go to the right 5. So for my slope, I got up 0 and then to the right 5. You can plug that in the calculator if you need, but it's still going to be 0. So this would be y equals 0x plus 1. 0 is the flattest slope we can find, right? And this is about as flat a line as we can draw on the graph. But could we use the formula for it as well? Yeah, it's going to be the same thing, though. So you'd have the purple ordered pair at 0, 1, and the green ordered pair at 5, 1, right? And this would still show, if you put it in the calculator, it would still show 0 on that, okay? Now, again, just so you guys understand, when you see this in 9th grade, not that you'll remember this stuff, but they would want the equation just written as y equals 1, which means the y value is 1 everywhere on that blue line, no matter what the x value is. For this line right here, hopefully we can see that that blue line, right, if we were to look at slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, so we'd find the slope and y-intercept, but hopefully you can see that this line is never going to cross through the y-axis, which means it has no y-intercept. So as it turns out, the equation won't be written like that at all. It actually switches. Instead of y equals, we're going to get x equals. Now, it's not like it just switches the x and y. It's not going to be x equals my plus b format. It's going to be x equals a number. And to figure out what that number is, you just got to find out where this blue line goes through the x number line, or the x-axis, which is right up in here. Right, that'd be 1, 0. So the x value there is 1. Done. That is the equation for this line. And yeah, it's not really considered slope-intercept form, but it is the equation. So what that means is in the future, if you guys saw a vertical line right here, and it went through -3, then it'd just be x equals -3, that's all. Or if it was maybe over here, where it goes through 4 instead, then it'd be x equals 4. See the difference? So you're just looking at these vertical lines, if it's like this, and seeing where does it go through the x-axis, the x number line. And the reason that is because this slope is so steep, and of course it doesn't have a y-intercept either, but it's so steep, we can't actually quantify it mathematically speaking. Right, like if you were to sled down this line, you'd go and hit the ground. That wouldn't be very good. So there's our objective. I can write equations in slope-intercept form from a graph. And hopefully we're feeling pretty good about that objective by this time in the lesson.